Alex was diagnosed with adjustment disorder upon entering therapy. He had signs of a panic attack, including palpitations and breathlessness. These occurred when he was serving his national service. As the therapy progressed, we discovered that he had unresolved hurt from his family, which led to issues with authority figures and his approval-seeking behaviors.
I think when I first came in, I was struggling with anxiety and adjustment issues in the army. So it was quite bad. It got to a point where my heart would palpitate as I walked down the stairs and stuff, and also it will leave me quite breathless at times. And somehow hearing things related to the army would get me in a very panicky state. So yeah, it was quite bad. And also I couldn't get a lot of rest, even at home. Yeah, and I couldn't eat a lot, and I lost interest in a lot of things that I used to enjoy. I think my mental health just deteriorated because I think it's been quite a long build up to that point where basically I was just trying to tolerate all my issues and shut them to the side, right? And I think the state of my mental health sort of affected my behavior as well. I started getting more closed off. I started isolating myself from my friends, and I started hoping that they would just leave me be. I didn't really show any interest in wanting to go out with them. I didn't really show any interest in wanting to make friends at all, actually. And this loneliness and this lack of social support, I feel it further amplified the deterioration of my mental health. And yeah, I think the end point was me feeling the only way to escape all these things was to just escape from this world. Yeah, I think at that point in time that there were a few suicidal thoughts that popped into my head. Yeah. I think it started probably before even army. I think the ways that I dealt with stress and the ways that I dealt with my peers was quite, I would say, maladaptive. Because I think a lot of my life is centered around performance, and a lot of my life is centered around pleasing people. And so when I couldn't do that, or when I felt I wasn't doing well enough, my mental health would start to I felt I just wasn't good enough in people's eyes, and that really just made my mental health spiral. And furthermore, in the army, because I've always had, I think, issues with authority, not issues in the sense that I hate authority or anything, but issues in the sense that I really want to be noticed. So when I couldn't perform up to my standard in the army, or especially when I got pneumonia in the army and I couldn't fulfill my wish of finishing command school, right? I think that really was the last trigger for me. I feel as a child, my father was quite standoffish in a sense. He would he would show love in a sense where he would buy me gifts and stuff, but really I was expected to earn their love by doing well in school, by just basically doing well in whatever they asked me to do. And so I think in a sense my formative years, I learned that my self-worth was really tied to my performance and things. I think in a sense I learned that if I placed my expectations above what I perceived other people to expect from me, maybe even if I wasn't good enough for myself, I'll be good enough for them. But I think the end state just ended up being I could never get to a point where I was good enough for myself, and I think that really affected me. I never really felt loved by my parents. I always really felt I needed to earn my way into their good books. And in terms of trauma, there was a lot of beatings, there were a lot of scoldings, there were a lot of like times where I was told like, they wish they never had me or stuff like that. And I think it got worse when my sister left for Melbourne to study because yeah, I think she also wanted to like leave the whole like Singapore scene. But I think she was my one biggest social support, and the fact that she left, like I never felt more alone. My initial impression wasn't very good. Like I had already gone to see my camp psychologist, and it was pretty bad because I was accused of trying to malinger the moment I stepped into the room. Like there was no asking for my name, asking for my situation or anything like that. They just warned me, and like I felt like the guy was just trying to push his agenda on me. And so I think I just developed this concept about psychology that the not about counseling maybe, that the counselor just had his own agenda in mind, like that his way would help me get better, and like I had no say in what to do. Yeah, and I think the most hopeful thing was that I wanted to. I came in ready to be vulnerable and to share about my problems, right? But I just felt like that wasn't respected at all, and so I think that made me feel even more isolated because I was really down to like my last straw. I really wanted to like seek help, right? But I just felt like the feeling that no one will listen to me, the feeling that I I have no one to turn to. Like it's, I mean, I think it's just terrible. Right? I think when when I was at that point in time, like my thoughts would spiral. Like even the smallest thing could set my thoughts. Like I felt like the only way to escape was to just end my life. Yeah. I think it changed for the better. I was fortunate enough to like, I guess like find a counselor who was able to explore my problems with me. Like he ended up being a good fit for me, and I began to see how counseling could improve my mental health. Yeah, I gradually became more vulnerable in sessions because I felt like there was trust being established, and it made me realize that like different counselors are a different fit for every client because every client is unique, right? I think the most helpful thing that my counselor did was like he wasn't afraid to ask me questions to challenge me, and I feel like these questions really made me think deeper into my perspectives on life and my own personal values, and it allowed me to reframe these perspectives into a more positive light. I think I learned about like how my anxiety and my adjustment issues might be related to like my childhood growing up and my distrust of authority. And I think in terms of like what I discovered about myself, I think in essence it was like the unresolved hurt and all the emotions I possessed that I felt towards my parents, and I transferred onto authority figures lah. And so this made me have a general sense of distrust of authority figures in my life, while ironically at the same time wanting to earn their favor and earn their like affection and stuff lah. And basically counseling helped me to explore more about this hurt, and it helps me to maybe not resolve it fully, but it definitely helped me to learn how to cope with it. And through exploring my past experiences, like it really helped me find some closure in terms of my past. Yeah, I also learned a lot about my value systems, like the things that motivate me and the driving force behind like my views and perspectives. And I feel like this new awareness gives me a chance to work on these problems. I think maybe one thing that I realize is that what I feel might not really be in line with reality, because what I felt was alone, right? What I felt was isolated. But in reality, there were people who cared for me, and there were people who were willing to listen. But it's just, I think sometimes they just didn't know how. Don't give up. Like, I know it might suck sometimes, and I know that things feel like they might not ever get better, but I know that they can get better because I've been through it as well. Yeah, and so talk to the people around you, find people who you trust, and don't be afraid to seek professional help if you need it. Yeah.
Alex has received over a year of therapy, which has changed his outlook on life. He recently completed the second year of his undergraduate studies in psychology, in the hopes of applying what he learned to help people who find themselves in similar situations. He would describe himself as hopeful and in a much better place than when he started.